Good afternoon, everyone. This is Eddie Barber. I'm the developer here at Tech Solutions. Now I'm going to walk you through the point-in-time report generation tool. For those of you who have used the APR generation tool, it may look a little familiar. There's also an Excel-based tool, so all you need is Excel 2007 or greater, and the tool will run just fine on it. When you open it up, on the first tab that will be available is this Report Admin tab, and the first thing you're going to do is select a state, and real quick, as we go, you'll notice there's an instructions area over here, and this will change as you walk through the steps to let you know what to do next, just in case if you get a little lost, but this overall should be fairly straightforward. So I'm going to select Massachusetts, and the next thing down here is to select the continuum of care that your program is in. I'm going to use Somerville as an example. Next, to put in the date of the point-in-time count. As Matt mentioned, for most of you it will be this Wednesday. It should be 29th. And then here you type in your agency or organization name. And here you type in the program name. And finally, you select the project type. I'm going to select emergency shelter. This program isn't technically an emergency shelter, but we'll do just for the demo. Now, if you already have data downloaded in the HUD CSV format from HMIS, you would go here to click Import Data from HMIS. If you don't, you can enter data from scratch. And if you were to click that, it brings you to this screen here where you can start entering clients one at a time. But since we do have data, I'm going to show how to do that. Go ahead and click Import Data from HMIS. A folder browser will come up. And just browse to where a folder containing the data is. I'm going to go to this multi-program data. One thing to note about this folder is when you go into the folder, you'll notice that it looks like it's empty. And that's just because the way Excel works, it's only looking for folders. But over here, you'll see I have a folder which just has all the required CSV files that come out in the HUD CSV format. So once you have the folder selected, go ahead and click OK. What that's going to do is look at the agency program.csv file and take a look at what programs are available. And then you just go ahead and select the program that you are doing the point in time for and click Import. And give it a few seconds to work as it imports all the data that's needed for the report.
And while that's running, one point to bring up, the project name up top is, please use the project name that matches the housing inventory charts. It makes it easy for the regional administrator to gather all the data. The project name sometimes in HMIS doesn't always line up. So what will get displayed on the report is what you put up in step 2, not what Eddie just showed you from the selection.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, Matt. So once you have the HMIS data imported, down here you'll see it will list the number of beds and units that are available. What you'll want to do is just double check that this is in line with what's actually available. And if it's not, you'll need to go back into HMIS and adjust the number of beds and units available in HMIS to make sure it's accurate. So once you've confirmed that, you can just click View Clients, and it will bring you over to this Clients page. And here you can just if you happen to import data but knew there was a couple extra clients that you need to add or a couple you need to remove, you can do that here. Or if you need to make small changes, you can. But otherwise, if it's all set, you can just go over to View Report to make sure the appropriate sheets are displayed, which will be down here. And then you can just browse through these one at a time to double check. And one, and then if it's all set, you can click the Create PDF button and go ahead and save that off as a PDF, which you can then send around and view. But yeah, overall, fairly straightforward process. And yeah, I think, Matt, is there anything else specifically about the tool to show?
Nothing in particular. I think one thing that just came up that I'd like to share with people is we had a question, I don't have the name of who asked it, but it came through the chat of which CSV tables are needed for the import. So if you look at the chat, you should be able to see a link to the knowledge base article. So it's with an FAQ, and the tables that we need are in there. So it's not the full suite. So there's a couple of them, like income benefits is not one of them. Export.csv. There's a few that aren't necessary.
Oh, I can bring that up too. This is the link that Matt just posted. These are the files that are needed.
Yeah, and Eddie, if you can go up one, show that, but also show the FAQs a little higher. Like, go to the point in time count section that has, because there's more FAQs within that. That'd be helpful. And John Lamb just asked a question, and we can respond to now as well. Asking, will the report list everyone active in the data set, or can we pull in only clients who have a particular bed night? So, John, I think what you're referring to is, I'm guessing, is, I mean, because when you do the export, ideally you can cut it for just one night. But are you referring to just clients that have an active bed service for that night for like ESIN, individual emergency shelter programs?
Exactly. If we didn't have everyone exited out of the program, could we just pull it by a bed service night as opposed to who was active in the program?
I'd have to go back and look at the filtering. Do you know that off the top of your head how that's done, Eddie? I know one thing we can do is we can show them the cleanup of how to remove people that, regardless of whether or not there's a, you know, if say there was 200 clients and you only served 110 that had an active bed service, it's pretty easy to remove clients from that data set. So Eddie, if you want to jump to view clients.
Yep.
Yeah, I think if
you click on the X, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
To the left of each of these records is a little X. You can go ahead and click that. And it'll just take that client out of there. I do think that the way it's working now is it's just taking active clients according to episodes. So, yeah, it would bring in everyone that's active in the program regardless of bed services.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, to your point, yes, you'll most likely be over counting for ESN programs that have a bed transaction model. And you'll have to go through and manually remove those that weren't there that night.
Sounds good.
Can you select more than one row, Eddie, to remove at once?
No, you can only remove one row at one time. It's more of a limitation of Excel than anything.
But just by selecting it, it's almost as many clicks. It's one click to just click the X. So by selecting, it would be a one click as well.
Yeah.
Eddie, if you wanted to add someone to this, you show where that would happen.
Yep. So to add someone, if you just click and generally the first thing you probably know about them is the name. So you could just start right here. And as soon as you type in something, it will auto-assign an ID, and then fill down the formulas that are needed as necessary. And you can just go through and enter in the rest of the information as necessary. Yeah, it's fairly straightforward.
You do that. You went back to view the report. You would see the results from that person you submitted.
Right.
One thing to mention, when you're adding them manually, if it's a family program, the household ID, because we don't have the complex logic to do household management in Excel. You just want to make sure that they have the same ID. So if there's 4 people in the household, you give them the same ID number, and that will tie them together. Dane, you just mentioned that, asked the question where the tool can be accessed. We're going to be sending out a link afterwards with the FAQ section, a link to the tool, and I think that should cover it, those two. So we'll give you access to it from a link that basically, it's a link to our Dropbox folder where we maintain it. So in the meantime, what you can be working on doing, I wouldn't necessarily do this for programs that change a lot, but it doesn't hurt to, for programs that, the people that you're serving tonight are probably going to be there on Wednesday. You can get an early start and, get the data from HMIS, download the CSVs, create these reporting tools for different program admins, and then send them off. Now, one of the things you might want to do, because it is Excel, it's not a secure database like HMIS, is when you go to save it, you can do File Save As, and you can actually password protect the spreadsheet. So if you go under Tools, and then go to General Options, you can create a password on that. And typically we recommend that you don't send the password in the same email that you're sending the reporting tool as well in it. Something to know: the data does come from HMIS, but what we bring into the spreadsheet doesn't have. It has date of birth, but we don't bring in Social Security numbers, so they're not in the spreadsheet itself. But we do need date of birth in order to calculate age, and then we use age to calculate whether or not they're adult or child, which is used for household composition. So I think without further ado, unless there's any other questions, we'll jump. Now is a good time to jump over to the how we look to gather data for the unsheltered population.